Long, long ago, in a quiet kingdom far away, there lived a kind queen. One winter day, she was sitting near a tall window, sewing peacefully. Outside, soft snow was falling from the sky, covering the land in white. As she sewed, the needle slipped and gently pricked her finger. A small drop of red blood fell onto the white snow outside the window. The queen looked at the snow, the red drop, and the dark window frame. She smiled softly and said, "I wish I had a child with skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as this window frame." After some time, her wish came true. A baby girl was born, beautiful and gentle. She was named Snow White. The queen loved her very much. But sadly, after a few years, Snow White's mother became ill and passed away. The palace felt quiet again. The king later married another queen. The new queen was beautiful, but she cared very much about her looks. She owned a magic mirror that always spoke the truth. Every morning, she stood in front of the mirror and asked, "Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" And the mirror always replied, "You are the fairest of them all." This made the queen happy. Years passed, and Snow White grew into a kind and lovely young girl. She helped others, spoke gently, and smiled often. People noticed her beauty, but Snow White herself never thought much about it. One day, the queen asked the mirror the same question. This time, the mirror answered differently. "You are beautiful, my queen, but Snow White is the fairest of them all." The queen felt upset. She became very jealous and forgot what kindness felt like. The queen decided Snow White must leave the palace. She called a huntsman and asked him to take Snow White into the forest. The huntsman took Snow White deep into the woods. But when he looked at her kind face and frightened eyes, he felt sorry for her. He told Snow White, "Please run away and never come back. I cannot hurt you." Snow White thanked him and ran into the forest. She walked for a long time, feeling tired and afraid. The forest was quiet, and tall trees stood all around her. After many hours, she saw a small house hidden between the trees. She gently opened the door and stepped inside. Everything in the house was tiny. Tiny chairs, tiny plates, tiny beds. Snow White was very hungry, so she ate a little food. Then she lay down on the small beds and fell asleep. That evening, the owners of the house returned. They were 7 dwarfs who worked in the mountains. They were surprised to see Snow White. When she woke up and told them her story, they felt kindness in their hearts. They said she could stay with them, but they gave her one rule. She should never open the door to strangers. Snow White promised. Back at the palace, the queen asked the mirror again. The mirror told her Snow White was still alive and living with the dwarfs. The queen became angry and decided to find Snow White herself. She dressed up as an old woman and went to the little house. Snow White forgot the dwarf's warning and opened the door. The queen gave her a tight lace to wear. Snow White soon felt weak and fainted. Luckily, the dwarfs came home in time and helped her. Snow White felt better again. The queen tried once more. This time, she brought a poisoned comb. When Snow White used it, she fainted again. Once more, the dwarfs saved her. Finally, the queen made a shiny red apple. One side was safe and one side was poisoned. She returned to the house and offered the apple. Snow White took a bite and fell into a deep sleep. This time, she did not wake up. The dwarfs were very sad. They placed Snow White in a glass coffin so they could always see her. Time passed. One day, a kind prince came through the forest and saw Snow White. As the coffin was moved, the apple piece came out of her throat. Snow White opened her eyes. She was alive. The prince and Snow White were very happy. They were married, and Snow White lived a peaceful life. The queen never caused trouble again. and Snow White's kindness was remembered forever. That is the story of Snow White, a story that reminds us that kindness is stronger than jealousy, and goodness always wins in the end.